Oh, you guys can't see me. Sometimes I forget, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, it is 2 in the morning, and I'm not much of a morning person. But the reason this is all grainy and all that stuff is because we have a very important mission today. Today we're going to drive from Arizona all the way to California to go to a virtual court date for one of the upcoming cars. So there's a car, like I said in the last video. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen it already. If you don't, then you'll probably see it in this video. It depends on how all this goes. But before we can show the video, before we can start doing basically any work on it, there has to be a court case. And I will give you the gist of our goals in court. So the car belongs to a good friend of mine. It's not ours. It's left-hand drive. I would never. But the car belongs to a good friend of mine. It's been really cool seeing him get the car. I think he got it back in like 2016, 2017. He immediately took it to a shop who we won't name because, like I said, I don't want to throw shade or anything because, hey, but so the shop in question is that he dropped it off at was here on the West Coast. It was run by one of the brothers. We'll call him Josh. We'll call him Josh. So one brother's name is Josh. He's got a shop on the West Coast. The other brother's name is, we'll call him Matt. He's got a shop on the East Coast. Now, the car's been shipped all over the United States, messing with these guys, trying to, get them to finish the car for the last few years. I think in total, his bill came out to like $17,000, and he paid it, but there was just like a lot. And what ended up happening, why we're where we're at today, is they never really finished the car. They stole a bunch of parts. They just did a bunch of stuff, and he had to get a lawyer to even get the car back because they were just like, no, we're not giving it back. It's illegal now, whatever. It was a mess. But, some developments have happened, and today's court case isn't really about getting anything from them. Like, yeah, it's like a civil suit, but it's more for the community, the Rotary community at large, because especially with YouTube getting really big, a lot of people don't know these types of things happen, and they're probably going to, become customers of these guys at some point. And, if you search their name in any Facebook group, especially the big RX-7 Facebook group, there's like new negative stories, like unbelievable stories every month, just about. Here's where things get interesting. We're going into court today in an attempt to try to get back. Really, it'd be cool to get the full amount that he paid to have done and all the shipping and all that stuff, but I think that's above the max, and I don't really know what he's looking for specifically, but like we said, right now it's more about principle. We're 100% expecting a loss to a technicality, and this is the technicality. This is where it gets interesting. There's 2 companies with the same name, the same logo, and they're on the same YouTube channel. They're just located, one's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast. Technically, all of the work that he had done was contracted through the West Coast company, even though the West Coast company shipped the car to the East Coast company to finish the work at the East Coast company, and he had contact with both of them. The owners, I think they have like a warrant or something. Anyway, they had to kill their business and on the West Coast and only keep the one going on the East Coast. And plus I think one of them moved to Florida to continue his YouTube thing because he's working with like Kyle, Cletus, and I think, yeah, every once in a while I see him in some Jimmy videos. But anyway, they closed that shop. So technically the shops do have 2 totally different LLCs, although they use all of the same everything. But he did his due diligence. He CC'd both shops and all correspondence, right? So far, so good. But what we were expecting to happen, since It is technically two separate companies, and they do everything just slimy enough in case something like this happens, because you got to think, for us, this is our first time having to deal with something like this. There's guides on how to sue them on Facebook, but when you're a customer, especially since this has been going on for like 5 years now, maybe 6 years now, geez Louise, you don't take your car to a shop expecting to have to sue, right? Because otherwise you just wouldn't take it. So what we're expecting to happen, this is the ruling we're expecting to happen. We're expecting for, what do we call him? Josh. I think we called him Josh. We're expecting Josh to just not show up. So if he's intelligent, he will not show up to court. That way, his brother, Matt, we'll call him Matt, can say, hey, this is a separate business. This is my business. They're trying to get my brother's business. We have to get in touch with his brother. So therefore, you got to subpoena his brother and all that stuff. And they're going to claim to not know where he is. That's kind of what we're thinking is going to happen. And then, yeah, they're going to probably close it or dismiss it or move the date back even further to do this another time. But no matter what the end result is, I think he's just about done at this point. He just wanted to, it's kind of one of those while you're in there things. So are we expecting a win? No, but it'd be really, really cool if it did happen. The truth is they're just, they're kind of slimy and they're good at it. And that's not an insult. They're outstanding, shade tree guys. And, they really got their stuff together. But like I said, we're not going to throw any shade, not going to say any specifics. The owner of the car is not going to be in the video. It's just going to be me, which is why I'm probably not going to film the drive to California. I just wanted to give you guys an update because in this video, we're going to add the actual delivery of the car. So that being said, if you think you know who it is, leave a comment and I'll pin the closest comment. That way, again, not to affect their business or anything, but if someone else has experienced something similar, which according to the Facebook groups, they definitely have, you have an opportunity to avoid dealing with businesses like this in the future. Now, I know there's two sides to every coin, and we're not going to get into that because I would say I wasn't there, but I was. I've kind of seen everything. I even went to go see the car one time, but we'll probably do, if this goes well, we'll do a Q&A later on that. But I'm just really happy that all this is coming to like an end. And yeah, I'm really stoked that we can finally get some wrenches on the car because the car is pretty awful. Like all their work is like clown shoe. It's bad. Like really bad. So I'm really happy to get the car running. I'm really happy to drive the car again. And I'm so stoked to be able to get on the track with my boy, with twin FDs, not twin, but both of us just have FDs on the track for the first time since like ever. It's going to be rad. So let me get this multi-hour drive out of the way. We're on our way to LA. Also, I forgot to say, if you're watching this right now, thanks, dude. Like, I appreciate that. So let's go get this done. Sorry for the long-winded talk. I just want you guys to kind of understand what's going on. All right, let's get going.
I'm a rock star with a hold on a meeting, it's like a new me now. I'm a hot shot with a plane with a pin out and everything is in and McDonald's is for free now. I'm a pop up with these cars and these things I don't got now. I don't know the words, but the song is fucking fire.
Oh, cool. Okay. I'm tired. It's late. It's not really late. The sun's still out. But considering we've been up pretty early this morning, it's kind of late. Anyway, the court case is done. It's concluded. Everything is as it should be. The final result was exactly what we were expecting, and they did exactly what we were expecting them to do. So then that probably leads to the question, what was the point of all this? So aside from the $17,000 that was spent to get the car to, a good running condition, and well, it already ran before, but to get it, to be his dream car. He also paid another shop about $7,000, almost $8,000 to finish the work of these guys. So it would have been cool to get that back, and the parts that they stole, because legally they did steal a lot of parts. The location of those parts is unknown, so it was more like principle, if that even makes any sense at all. Initially, lawyers were involved to get the car back, like we said, because they didn't even want to give the car back. Now that they have the car back, the lawyer was like, anything else? He's like, oh yeah, I would like to get my parts. The parts weren't there. They owe me a little bit of money, maybe at least pay for this thing to be fixed. So he's like, all right, we'll go for it. But knowing how they tend to hide their bad dealings, it totally makes sense that none of that was going to be recouped in the first place. They offered to settle for some amount of money, who knows what it was, but considering this thing isn't really about the money, that wasn't that important. The parts that they left out were the return of the parts that were stolen, which they claimed they could not do. And they wanted a confidentiality clause. And my friend, luckily, he was standing on business. He wasn't about to do that. In fact, that seemed to be the thing that made him most upset, is like, you want me to take less money than you owe me and then not tell anyone about it? We're not doing that. So knowing that, we went into this case knowing it would probably be a wash, and it was, because luckily, I forget what we called them, maybe Matt and Josh, the real not great guy here, just didn't show up. The defense led with, we don't know where he is, which already told us like right off the rip. I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. So if there was any confusion about what we talked about earlier, this is kind of a visual explanation of what happened. So we have company one, we'll call it like Little Devil Performance, and then company two is also Little Devil Performance. I hope that focuses. They both have the same logo, the same everything. Everything's the same except this one is in Virginia, this one is in California, this one's email is at Gmail, this one's email is at Outlook. So while initially the beef was with this one closed down and moved all of his stuff and his customer cars to this one. To your average customer, we don't know the inner workings of these two businesses, so to us it's who it is. Not only that, all the paperwork that came from this one now had the information, the address, and everything of this one, except the correspondence was still coming from the email of this one. You know what I mean? So what ends up happening is this guy is the guy who should be in trouble. This guy is claiming to just be completely, hey, I don't know about anything that happened. Although all of the work and everything was undergone here and shipped here. And the bills had my address on them. I was, hey, I don't know. You got to ask this guy. This guy is out of business, right? He's gone. Fairy dust. He doesn't exist. So now, to the general public, only this company exists. The issue is the owner of the other company is not a partner in this company. Like that, he's not on any of the paperwork. So what do you do at this point? This guy is not responsible for anything. And unfortunately, it sucks that this guy had to be dragged into it, because he seems like a pretty stand-up guy. And even the guy who took them to court, who owns the car, has only said great things about Matt, we'll call him. But Matt decided, hey, his loyalties lie with his brother, so that's kind of, he ended up getting drugged into this. And he ended up just saying, hey, I don't know anything about this. Although Matt was the guy who talked to me when I flew all the way to Virginia to look at the car in the first place. So my only dealings with this car, with this whole fiasco, have been with Matt. And there was no mention of, hey, I don't know anything about this. He told me everything and like all that. Anyway, sticky notes aside, in a nutshell, that's the situation we were dealing with. So the case ended up getting completely dismissed because like the defense led with, no one can find Josh. And without Josh, the judge didn't want to hear, you know, back and forth claims about this, that, or the other. So they dropped it. My friend is not interested in the settlement. And from here, we're just going to leave it. I know a lot of you guys will say, well, all you have to do now is subpoena Josh. We're really not concerned with it. It was just, this was more to, one, get the car back so we could work on it. Two, show them that, you know, your customers can be serious, because when he initially said he was going to get a lawyer, they kind of laughed at him. Like, no, you're not. They fumbled the ball the first two court meets, but this time they had their stuff together. They had their alibi built, and, or not their alibi, they had their case built and ready to execute. And they did great, which is good. We're good with this, because that means we can now work on the car. I thought I had video of the car being delivered, but it might be on Iori's phone, and I talk to Iori about as much as you guys do. So we don't have that footage, but we do have the car outside. So we'll just go take a quick overlook. At the next video, the one that's coming tomorrow, is going to be the one where we actually get into the car. So if you guys are interested in this at all, yeah, you don't have to subscribe or anything. Just come back tomorrow and we'll go into that car. If you have any advice for my friend, you can leave it in the comments, but just know we're not really interested in getting money, just interested in making sure this predatory behavior doesn't continue, although it totally will. But yeah, I think that's all we got. I'm a little bit under the weather, but let's head outside. And I think this is going to be the end of the video for me. End of the video that I'm in. So goodbye. Enjoy looking at the car.